Hi everyone, welcome to our Pilates. If you haven't done the class before, then watch the pre-class information first and we'll get straight to it. So I want you to stand with your feet close together. We're going to turn our toes out and we're going to take the heels out to join them. Now I want you to think about grounding down into the floor. So your big toe, your little toe and your heel are your anchor points. Make sure the weight is equally distributed throughout all of those. Coming up to our knees, we're going to make sure they're nice and spongy. You might just want to give them a little bit of a wiggle up to our pelvis. We're going to make sure our pelvis is nice and level. So I want you to think about having two little headlights on the front of the hip bones. They're going to be facing forward and they're going to be level as well. So we're not doing any of this. We're keeping it nice in the middle. Inside the pelvis, I want you to think about having a bucket of water in there. It's really full. We're not going to slosh it around. So you might just want to tilt the pelvis just forward and backwards. Turn to the side just slightly a couple of times just to find that midpoint for you. And once you get there, we're going to stay there. Then coming up to our midsection, just think about a little bit of tension in that core. So we're pulling the belly button slightly back towards our spine. Make sure you can still breathe, but just keeping that tension there. Next, I want you to think about your ribs and you're going to imagine you're knitting those down in towards your pelvis too. So we're not flaring the ribs up and out, we're keeping them knitted down. Next, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. As you do that, we're going to pick your shoulders up towards your ears. You're going to push them back and then you're going to breathe out through your mouth. Fantastic. So pick the shoulders up into the nose, push them back out through the mouth. Fantastic. If you want to close your eyes or you do this, you can. And just make those circles bigger each time. So really think about squeezing the shoulders up towards the ears and gliding them down the back. So we're warming up into the shoulder joints. And we're just relaxing a little bit as well. I want this next half an hour just for you. We're going to do two more. Into the nose, out through the mouth. And we're going to slide the shoulder blades down the back. Fantastic. We're going to do our lateral flexion next. So I want you to imagine you've got a cord to the top of your head and it's pulling you up towards the ceiling. So we're lengthening up our spine, we're growing taller. We're then going to have a pane of glass in front and behind us. And we're just going to slide in between those two panes of glass. So trying to keep the hips relatively stable. All the movements coming from the upper part of the body, so we've still got those headlights forwards. The shoulders are stacked, and we're just sliding in between those two panes of glass. Breathing into the nose, back out through the mouth. If you want to just let the head drop either side, just to get a nice neck stretch. You can do that too. I won't charge you any extra for it. I'm going to go one more each side. I'm going to make sure we're nice and even. I'm going to bring it back up into the centre. I'm going to do our spinal rotation. So we're going to place our hands on the opposite arm. So just like crossing your arms, just very gently. Lengthening up through that spine, keeping the pelvis forward and fixed. We're going to twist those shoulders round, bring that back into the centre, take that round the opposite side. So we're going to keep this movement nice and slow and controlled. We're going to keep that going round to the side, bringing that back up into the centre. Breathe in through your nose, breathe back out through your mouth and lengthen up through that spine as well. So make sure you're growing taller every time you come back into the middle. Try not to let the shoulders creep up towards the ears too much. So just think about sliding the shoulder blades down into your back pockets. You want to take the head around a little bit further each time to get a nice neck rotation there too. You can do that. Okay, we're going to go one more each side. Breathing into the nose, breathing back out through the mouth. We're going to finish back in the centre. We're going to float the arms back down. And we're going to do our roll downs. So we're going to do them a little bit different today. We're going to do roll downs into push-ups. So we're not going to do continuous roll downs. We're going to do one roll down, out into a push-up, back up again. Now, if you do struggle with push-ups, you can do them on your knees. You can just come out into a plank also if you want to, if that's too much. So I'm going to make sure I've got some room here. Make sure you've got enough room to come out in front of you. Feet underneath your hips. Keep the belly button pulled in. Standing up nice and tall. We're going to breathe into the nose. We're going to breathe out. And we're going to slowly curl that neck in. So tuck the chin, roll the shoulders, bend the knees, rolling down that spine, all the way down to the floor. We're going to take our hands. We're going to walk our hands out into our plank position if we so choose, or down onto our knees. We're going to do one push-up. We're going to come back up, and then we're going to walk our hands back in, and we're going to roll that back up again. So vertebrae by vertebrae, bringing that back up. Fantastic. So we're going to do this 2 more times. So starting at the top, breathing in, breathe out, curl the chin, curl the shoulders, roll down the spine. So let the arms hang a little bit loose. Down towards the floor, bend the knees into a crouch position if that's easier for you. Walking the hands out into your plank push-up. Bring that back in. Rolling that back up slowly. Keeping the belly button pulled in here. Finishing with our shoulders and our head. One last time. Breathing in, breathing out, rolling that down. All the way to the floor, keeping the knees bent, walking the hands out into that push-up position. Breathing in, breathing out, walking that back. Rolling back up to the top. Finishing with the shoulders and the head. We're going to do one more time just to roll down this time. Breathing in, breathing out, roll that chin. Take your time, just let the arms dangle loose. Bend the knees. Now we're just going to finish in this ragdoll type position. If you want to place your hands on either elbow, you can. And just have a nice bend in the knees. And just take some breaths here. And then in your own time, I'm just going to come down into a kneeling position. Lovely. So when you're ready, we're going to come down flat onto the floor for our shoulder romp. We've done this before in our 60-minute classes, but not in our 30. So we're going to, it's very similar to swan dive position. We're going to be laid flat on the floor. We're going to have our arms above our heads. We're going to lift the arms up off the floor. We're going to take them all the way around. Once we get to this position here, so 3 and 9 o'clock, we're going to turn the thumbs down, and we're going to take that all the way around to the back. And then we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades, so squeezing the elbows together. And then we're going to reverse that back. So we're going to press them down, bring that back around, all the way back up. So when you're ready, come down onto the floor. I'm just going to bend my knees up because I haven't got much room, but you can lay it out flat. We're going to have our hands above our head. I'm going to lift the forehead just up off the floor. Or if you've got a pillow or cushion, you can place it underneath your forehead. So breathe in through your nose, pick the arms up, breathe out. We're going to start circling those hands round. We're going to turn the thumbs under, bring that round to the base of that lower back, place the hands there, squeeze the elbows up, place them back down, and extend that back out and bring that all round again. Twisting the thumbs, bringing that back up, and placing that down. And just take a deep breath in and out here and prepare yourself. I'm going to do this 2 more times. So we take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to pick the hands up, take the arms around. You want to try and keep them level all the way. We're going to twist those hands under, take them all the way around to that lower back. Place the hands on the lower back, squeeze the elbows up, press them back down. Breathing in, breathing back out, repeating that back all the way around. Turning the arms around all the way to the top. Placing that back down. Again, we're going to take another deep breath in and out. I'm going to do that one more time. So breathing in, lifting the arms up, breathing out, taking them around, twisting the arms under, all the way around to the back, placing them on the lower back, squeezing the elbows together, placing back down, reversing that movement, bringing that round, turning the palms, all the way up to the top, and then placing that back down. Fantastic. So we're going to come into our child's pose now. So just pick your arms up, bring them back. I'm going to place the feet together, take the knees apart, and we're going to sit back and we're going to take a couple of breaths here. So really just breathe in through your nose, breathe back out through your mouth, and just let yourself sink down into the floor for a second. Okay, when you're ready, bring yourself up into an all fours position. We're going to do our pigeon stretch. So there's a couple of ways of getting into this. The easiest way I find is we're going to bring our one knee forward towards our wrist. We're going to take the ankle with the opposite hand. We're going to pull that just slightly in front of the opposite knee. And then we're going to slide the knee back. So you should be in this position. I want you to walk the hands back a little bit so they're roughly in line with the knee. We're going to stay nice and upright. We really want to stretch down that hip flexor and into that glute. So take a couple of deep breaths here. Okay, I'm going to place some pressure into your hands. You're going to switch legs. So drag that leg back in. I'm going to pull the ankle forward. And we're going to extend the other leg out. And just walk the hands back towards the knee. Just taking a couple of deep breaths here. Again, we're staying nice and upright. We want that stretch in the front there and also in the opposite side. Okay, we're going to come out of that position. If you want to just roll over onto your side, we're going to roll all the way over. It's not very graceful, but it's a little bit fun. We're going to do a reverse plank now. And we're going to add in a leg pull if we want to. So we're going to be sat upright. We're going to place our hands just behind our bum. Now, if you do struggle with this on your wrists, you can come down onto your elbows, but I tend to find that's a little bit harder. So it's up to you. Now, you can either have the fingers facing towards the hips, or you can take the fingers out or all the way around to the back. So depending on your flexibility and if you have any injuries, place the hands wherever you need to. We're going to take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to push through our hands, we're going to engage our shoulders, and we're going to lift our hips up. So we're in this reverse plank position. So I want you to think about trying to aim to touch your toes to the floor. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out to the mouth. Lower that back down. Let's take a second to take the pressure off the wrists. This time when we go up, we're going to lift the one leg if you want to, and then lift the opposite leg. You can just stay in your plank position if you so wish. So take a deep breath in. On the out breath, push through the wrists, push the hips up. Breathing in, breathing out, lifting the leg, placing that back down. Opposite side. Fantastic. So one more breath. Place that back down. Fantastic. I'm going to do it one more time. If you need to give your wrists a bit of a wiggle, give your wrists a bit of a wiggle. Place the hands back behind those hips. Breathing into the nose, breathing out, pushing through the wrists, pushing the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, and then on that out breath, just lifting that leg. Breathing in again. Breathing out, lowering that back down. Fantastic. Just give your wrists another bit of a wiggle. And we're going to do a seated spinal stretch. So you're keeping your legs out in front. We're going to pull our toes up towards us. Just take the legs a little bit further apart. I want you to imagine you've got a beach ball in between the legs. And we're going to place our hands on top of that beach ball. I want you to breathe in. On the out breath, we're going to roll that beach ball away. So using your hands, just roll that pretend beach ball as far as you can, really stretching along the spine. And then bring that back in again. So breathing into the nose, breathing out through the mouth, rolling that beach ball away. Bringing that back up. Breathing in, breathing out, rolling the beach ball away. Really stretching the fingertips towards the toes. And then bring that back in again. Fantastic. We're going to do our core work now. So we're going to bring we're not going to start from the bottom and work our way up this time because that was a mistake last time. We're going to bend our knees up. We're going to have our feet roughly hip distance apart. Our knees are going to be roughly hip distance apart as well. And we're going to do our roll ups. We're going to start from seated. So I want you to place your hands just lightly on your thighs. We're breathing in through our nose. On the out breath, we're going to C-curve the spine. So we're pulling the belly button in, we're curving the back, and we're starting to lay the back of the pelvis onto the floor. Then the waist down to the bottom of the shoulder blades. We're going to breathe in here, and then we're going to breathe out, and we're slowly going to roll that back up again. So C-curving that spine, straightening back up at the top. Breathing in here, breathing out, and we're just going to repeat that. So really C-curve that spine, pull that belly button in, lay that pelvis down first, then our waist, all the way to the shoulder blades. Maybe we'll take it a little bit further. Breathing in here, breathing out to roll that back up. Stacking it back up at the top. Breathing in. Breathing out, repeating that. If you want to extend, you can take the arms out in front. Maybe just challenge yourself a little bit. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out on that way back up. And just remembering to stack the spine back up straight at the top. We're going to do 2 more. So make them nice and slow and controlled. We're really thinking about C-curving that spine and placing each vertebrae on the floor one by one. Keeping the belly button pulled in. On that last one, we're going to finish down. So just roll all the way down and just take a couple of deep breaths here. I'm just going to change my position slightly so you can see me. Here we go. We're going to do our 1-leg circles now. So we're just going to stretch out along the floor. Just place the hands loosely by the sides. We're going to pick one leg up. And this is circumduction of our leg. So I want you to imagine there's a circle on the ceiling. And we're going to draw that circle. So we're going to do this 8 times one way. Keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled. Now I want you to think about keeping the hips really, really still. So try not to rock from side to side with the hips. Once you've done 8 circles one way, we're going to do 8 the other. I also want you to think about keeping the knee really straight, keeping the toe pointed, and trying to make the circles the same size each time. Once you've done 8 both ways, we're going to place the leg down and we're going to go the opposite side. So reset that pelvis, make sure it's flat into the floor. Lift that leg up and just start drawing those circles. You'll find that one leg is probably a lot easier than the other. Trying to think about drawing a slow circle with the one leg is going to be a lot tougher. So we're going to go 8 circles one way, keeping that slow and controlled. The circles don't need to be too big. The smaller you'll find tend to be a little bit more difficult. So you want them roughly the size of a football or a beach ball. Keeping that knee nice and straight. 8 one way, 8 the other way. Once you've done those, I'm going to place the feet back down and we're going to do our glute bridge. So bring the feet close to the bum. We're going to have our knees roughly hip distance apart, straight up towards the ceiling. We're going to place the hands just down by the sides and just wiggle the shoulders away from the ears as well. So I want you to breathe in. On the out breath, we're going to squeeze the glutes, we're going to push through the heels, and we're going to slowly peel the spine up off the floor into our glute bridge, so into that nice ski slope position. Breathing in here and then breathing out and slowly rolling the spine back down. Fantastic. So breathe in, breathe out, push through the heels, squeeze the glutes. Keep the glutes squeezed all the way to the top. We're holding it for that breath. We're keeping the glutes squeezed and we're still squeezing them all the way back down again. So keeping that movement nice and slow and controlled. We start just by tucking that pelvis under and lifting the pelvis, lifting the hips, lifting the waist, all the way to the bottom of the shoulder blades. And then we're just reversing that back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, down to the floor. So I want you to keep them nice and slow and controlled. So I want you to think about maybe counting to about 4 or 5 on the way up, and then about 4 or 5 on the way back down. And maybe as you progress, you can increase that count. Just try and keep the movement nice and stable. So think about squeezing the knees in, trying to not let them splay out. You want the knees tracking in line with the hips and with the feet. We're keeping the belly button pulled in too, so we're shrink wrapping that middle. Imagine you one of those suitcases at the airport, wrapping yourself up. I also want you to think about knitting the ribs down to that pelvis again, which can be a little bit of a weird one. So we're trying to lift the pelvis up, but we're pushing the ribs back down. Breathing in at the top, breathing in at the bottom, and then breathing out on that movement. Pushing through the heels still. Squeezing those glutes. We're going to do 2 more. Pushing through the feet. Keeping the movement slow and controlled. So last one. Take your time in that movement. I'm going to do a nice little glute stretch now. So I'm going to pick up your right leg, place that across the left thigh, push the knee away. If you want to stay here, that's fine. If you want a little bit more, pick the left foot up off the floor and just take the hands around the back of that leg. You should feel a nice stretch into the hip, into the glute. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Okay, I'm going to place that down. I'm going to switch sides, so place the foot on the floor, pick the opposite leg up, place that foot on the opposite thigh, push that knee away. If you want, pick the foot up off the floor, take the hands around the thigh, and just take some breaths here. Keep breathing in through the nose, back out through the mouth. We're going to release that stretch off and we're going to do our hamstring stretches. So make sure you're laid along the floor. You can keep the knees bent up for now if you like. We're just going to pick one leg up, point that up towards the ceiling. Now you can keep the leg here, or you can place the hands around the thigh. If you want to increase, you can also stretch the opposite leg out along the floor. And just take some deep breaths here. I'm going to take the leg across the body. So you want to stretch down the outside of that leg. Okay, bring that back into the centre. Take it all the way out to the side. Just support the leg with the hand underneath. You should feel a stretch down the inside of the leg. Bring that leg back into the centre. We're going to place the foot flat on the floor. We're going to bring that other leg up towards the ceiling. So you should feel a nice stretch in the hamstring. It's really important that you keep the knee nice and straight here. You'll find as soon as you start to bend that knee, you just lose that stretch in the hamstring completely. So it doesn't matter how close the leg is towards you. It's really about keeping that leg straight. So even if it's only at a 45-degree angle, that's absolutely fine. Just keep the leg straight. Okay, we're going to take that across the body. You should feel a stretch down the outside of the leg. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing back out through your mouth. Bring that leg into the centre. Take that all the way out to the side. And just support the underneath of the leg with the hand. And you should feel a stretch down the inside of the thigh. Bring that leg back into the centre. Place the foot on the floor. And we're just going to roll over onto our side and slowly push ourselves up. Fantastic. So just take a couple of minutes to take a few deep breaths for yourself, and thank you very much for joining. If you've enjoyed the class, please drop us a comment, like the video, make sure you subscribe as well for future videos. If you do have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to try or struggle with, again, just drop it in the comments or just drop us a message. There's plenty of social media channels you can get us on. Thank you very much for joining. See you soon.